Hi, my name is Serge from Truck Dispatcher Training. What is IFTA? What troubles will await you in the future if you don't pay this tax? Or what is going to happen with your business if you miss a deadline? What information do you need to complete your quarterly tax returns? Today, I'm going to answer all these questions in this video. Stay with us, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell. So let's start. IFTA is the International Fuel Tax Agreement. It is concluded between the lower 48 states of the United States and 10 Canadian provinces to simplify the reporting of the fuel used by road carriers operating in more than one jurisdiction. In simple words, there is a tax that you pay on fuel, and depending on where you purchase your fuel from versus where you're traveling, they may be required to split that money with the state you drove in. IFTA returns are due quarterly, on the last day of the month following the end of the calendar quarter. If the due date is a Saturday, Sunday, or a legal holiday, the next business day is considered the due date. Please note, late or missed IFTA reporting can result in a fine up to $50 or 10% of the net tax due. It can also lead to audits. So, one of these tips is to remember the deadline for IFTA filing. For each quarter are as follows: April 30 for January-March, July 31 for April through June, October 31 for July through September, and January 31 for October through December. You have to apprise about the miles that you travel in each state, along with the number of gallons of fuel you purchase in each state. You should also denote lunch breaks or personal errats. This gaps between mileage from one day to next can raise a red flag with the IFTA. How to get the rights for the IFTA license? First of all, each of them must be qualified. What does it mean? It wouldn't be considered a qualified motor vehicle if you use it for recreation. It must have 2 axles and a registered gross weight of more than 26,000 pounds or have 3 or more axles. You must register your vehicle in the DMV, California Department of Motor Vehicles, and they must meet the requirements of California. There is a really important point to operate a vehicle in any US state or Canadian province that is a member of the International Fuel Tax Agreement. And based on this, you have to control operational records for your motor vehicles. Moreover, you must pay for the IFTA license $10,000 per year. My recommendation is to copy the license keeping each vehicle. Also, you're going to need 1 set of IFTA decals for each qualified vehicle in your fleet. Where must they be placed? First, decal is on the exterior portion of the GAP's passenger side, and the second one is on the driver's side in the same position. Now, let's move on to what information you need for this submission. Of course, the actual fill-in itself will vary from state to state. For example, in Indiana, it is possible to submit documents through a special portal. In another state, the portal or ways to fill a declaration might differ. Have you experienced this procedure before? Share in the comments how this happens in your state. This may be helpful to others. Despite this, the information you will need to complete this tax return will be universal and standard for everyone. There are several points when you will prepare working papers for your tax report. First, transcribe your name, address, and federal employer identification number correctly. Make sure this data is clear. It's not so much a tip as it's advice on what to pay attention to. Second, you need to know how many miles you have driven in each state in a particular quarter. You can get this information from the electronic journals of the company you use. In addition, the GPS trackers on your device also keep track of how many miles you drive in each state. But pay attention and document every e-journal or GPS issues, as this can affect your reported numbers. The IFTA expects your information to be accurate. So if any of your vehicles have these problems, your numbers may be questioned. Expected, right? Let's say you have only traveled to 5 states this quarter. And according to the report from the electronic journal, in Indiana it was 5,000 miles, Kentucky 2,000, Illinois, let's say 500, Ohio 1,000, and Michigan 1,500. So the total miles that you traveled this quarter were 10,000 miles. The next information you need is the number of gallons of fuel you bought in each state. Where to take it from? When you buy fuel, they give you a receipt. You need to divide this whole bunch of receipts by state. For convenience, checks from each state can be stored in separate boxes. So you can quickly see and calculate how many gallons of fuel were bought. For example, in Kentucky, the amount may be 500, and there may be no checks from Illinois at all. Ohio, it could be 100. In Michigan, for example, it could be 400. So the total gallons bought would be 1,000. Once you have calculated how many miles you have driven in each state and how much fuel you have bought there, open your tax return. Then just enter the desired numbers in the fields provided for them. First of all, you will need to indicate which state you were in, and only then how many miles did you drive and how much fuel did you buy. You should know that states such as Virginia, Indiana, and Kentucky charge extra. It usually equals from 3.5 to 11 cents per gallon. Now, here is a tip for those who buy fuel with cash or use their debit or credit card rather than a dedicated fuel card. For example, you arrive for fuel, go inside and say you want to fill up 100 gallons. You'll be given a prepaid receipt stating that you spent $200 on fuel. As a rule, the driver returns to the car, fills up, and leaves. There is one problem. This proof of payment does not show the number of gallons he bought. Therefore, I advise you to move the truck to a specially designed place after refilling. Then return to the gas station and take the final receipt. This invoice will tell you what condition you purchased the fuel in, how much you spent on fuel in total, and how many gallons of fuel you bought. These are the numbers you need to enter into the IFTA spreadsheet. In order not to perform all these unnecessary actions, I advise you to get a fuel card. You will receive a monthly or weekly statement for this card. It will list where you bought your fuel by state, how many gallons you bought, and what the total fuel purchase was. So, instead of looking up the information you need across various receipts and tallying that information up by state, most of that information will already be aggregated for you on a monthly basis. This will save your time and nerves. Perhaps some of you are already using this card. Have you appreciated its benefits? You may have noticed that in our example, we bought fuel not in all states. This may seem strange, but if you have driven miles in the state but haven't bought gallons, you have had enough. You must have the appropriate state mileage to purchase fuel there. Therefore, in order for the information you enter on your tax return to make sense, I recommend that you go back and double-check your travel reports as well as e-journals. Our video has come to an end. We hope it was helpful. If you have any questions about tax and information collection, leave them in the comments. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. We wish you good luck in your trucking business. And we'll continue to help you in this. So subscribe to our channel, set the bell if you don't want to miss our videos.